good day to you, Baba Aye.
Hello, how are you?
Very great to have you, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So let's start. I know you are right now in Uyo at the NLC Rain School educating workers. How is the atmosphere at that training right now as you educate Nigerian workers?
Well, the NLC Rain School, this will be the 21st session. It started the first Rain School in 2003. It was actually 2003. It's for 23 years now, and we had the largest turnout ever. 315 participants from 54 of the NLC. We have from sister trade unions on the continent. And the discussion was very, very robust. I was impressed with the discussion across the forces, the force groups, organizer, leadership, and gender. And also for the first time, you had young workers, what you call the young workers training program, like the Chief talks about that you had young members of working class organizations, not necessarily trade union, on this particular.
All right.
I think the sense has to be.
All right. So, Baba Aye, let's get down to the issue. What's your assessment of workers' welfare amidst global market growth? We have seen the prediction for this year, global market growth, it will end at 2.9%. But the disparity of workers' welfare is also widening, even though the global market is growing.
Well, quite clearly, the growth does not always translate into development. Because alongside you have concentration of wealth on one side and concentration of property on the other. There was a time we used to talk about the 1% and the 99% foul the wealth of the poor richest men in Africa is enough to wipe out poverty in Africa. And it's not just an African thing. I was speaking at a workers' congress, a trade union congress in Canada last month, and even the members of the union were talking and pointed out that the richest 0.02% Canadians, their wealth was more than the total wealth of 80% of Canadians. So you see that is becoming more, that has not translated into improved welfare for working class people. And that is because the few people have much more than what we would ever need. In fact, the extent of their wealth is embarrassingly ostentatious, but they don't see it as that, and not only that, the personification of capital which rests on its expansion, accumulation for accumulation's sake, really. So the systemic problem that goes beyond the economic growth and that requires enlightenment the class, the oppressed class, fighting yes, policies are important and we can come to and we need to fight for the, and also fight, but also concurrently fight towards dismantling perspective.
Very interesting. But on the other way, how can we promote policy that will prioritize workers' welfare? You know, you have highlighted that workers need to fight their way, they have to struggle for it. But how can we promote this workers' welfare within a corridor of trade unionism that have become so vibrant at this point in time? But we have seen a little bit of, crack globally. But from your own perspective, you have been following trade union and workers' welfare struggle all these years. How can we ensure that we prioritize the policy that will bring this to pass?
Very good question. First, let me say that trade unions are working class under attack. Probably like never before in a long time. And that's because, among other things, over the last 4 decades, we have seen the capitalists install a neoliberal consensus consensus, this was leading consensus, but the long and short of it is that they have made a common sense of what is actually anti-people, which is that linked to the world will be better for everybody, with deregulation, with privatization, liberalization, and these are also things to our point. In the post-World War II period, several countries instituted policies that aim to promote that we try to achieve full employment, ensure social protection, provide social services. This was the time that the UK had the NHS, the National Services put up. That the welfare states became the norm in Europe. Africa came into the post-World War II under a bit late because of the fact that we were on colonialism. 60s was the decade of Africa's independence. But of course, in the history of the developmental stage, we had policy like free education, services, free health services, Nigeria, for example, we had much more schools built in the first 6 years after independence and the last 100 years of colonialism because it was less and things like that. We had more health centers, hospitals, universities. So there was that. These were based on even within the region of capitalism. So this did not just happen. This happened because workers fought for much more than that. There was someone in the House of Europe in 1940. If you don't give them reforms, you will give us revenue. This was the context. And that is why do not think that you just simply get those nice policies. A lot of those policies are still existent. But it is about just from Dr. Mayuri was the great tragedy. The game is the game of power and trial and strength. You don't win strictly with policies what you have fought for beyond policy, and that is a case of class policy.
Very interesting. Now, another very interesting issue around this global market and workers' welfare is this. We have seen that unions and trade unions on their own are fighting seriously, but we also see the compression and the fight from the global capitalism. But from your own advice as someone who has been around for a very long time in this particular, what would be your advice for trade union at this point in time? Because the workers' welfare we are talking about also boils down to decent pay and condition of work is very, very key. After the 2020 COVID-19 period, we saw a move by global power to ensure that workers have a decent pay and decent place of employment. But as we speak right now, it's like they have negated that move and we are seeing something else around workers' decent pay and the rest. What's your view on this, sir?
Well, thanks for that also. It takes us to the issue of the decent work which the ILO pushes for. It's interesting to note that decent work is an agenda first noted by the ILO in 1999 during the period of Somalia, Chilean, as Director General of the ILO. And decent work agenda encompasses adequate pay, sort of job security, sort of income security, a touch of working conditions, a touch of social dialogue. And that is one of the things you see that largely, if I say Nigeria. Workers well paid conditions are terrible, and then many employers and governments don't respect social dialogue. Unilateral theft and so on and so forth. This contravention, ILO conventions to be ratified, it can convention but what to do is a part of the 5 key fundamental principles and rights at work. But we're not just spoken. So it's to say that it is not enough to have good policy. It is also necessary for our workers to build power to fight them. But also looking at it within this policy, to your question, I think that Nigeria in particular have also not actively exploited the existing policy. In fact, part of the problem, and I mentioned this during my presentation, the development of the 21st Trade School, which is today, that
all right, we have a network freeze there with Comrade Baba Aye, but hopefully he may join us in regards to our discussion today, talking about global market and challenge of workers' welfare. And it's so practical that at this point in time, a lot of initiation was led by ILO, International Labour Organization, on decent pay and good conditions for workers at their workstation. But after the post COVID-19 2020, a lot of policy was pushed out. But as we speak right now, countries, businesses, organizations are not following through, and that's what Comrade Baba Aye is trying to explain, and he's zeroing it down to Nigeria in regards to what Nigeria is also failing from in doing for Nigerian workers. We know. Baba, you are back. All right.
Yes, can you hear me?
All right, go ahead, sir.
Okay. So I was saying that with regards to saying that the trade unions in Nigeria too can better exploit even the existing laws and policies. As part of the process of building workers' power and also of course, leading to expanding on our benefiting the good working conditions and so on. For example, the existing occupational health and legislation for the enable things like tripartite safety and health committees in the workplaces. But we don't demand this. Even in places where you have occupational health and safety committee, the management unilaterally appoints the workers that are there instead of that. And this is an often overlooked aspect of trade union responsibility as the workers. So then another thing that I emphasize at the ongoing link to is that the NLC is the only trade union federation of the extent of significance that I know, and definitely on the African continent, that does not have a functional research center. There was a Labour Center for Social and Economic Research, LACSA, which was built to have established in the 2000s, but it never really functioned. Because we also need strong, evidence-based argument. Not because what we're saying is not correct, because it's easy for the employers and government to hide their own finger and to that advantage. There is a need to establish strong such community and policy to act on persisting community, our what can be done to support the local reality. Even engagement with the process, except for when there are some very key issues, the trade union don't adequately follow the legislative process. Few unions have persons responsible for following things up with what is happening in the National Assembly. State secretaries don't follow what is happening in the state assembly. There are opportunities of people public hearing make demands, and even where and when the government be part of a process of challenging, mobilizing society around our demands, and imbuing it with even stronger within the area of so there's a lot that can be done, even within the subsisting context of change, and we fight for total liberation.
Exactly. Comrade, I need to appreciate you. At your tight schedule over there in Uyo, you just have to find time for me so that we can extract some of these issues. So I appreciate you for coming on the show, and I wish you all the best as you round up your conference in Uyo over there.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, sir. All right. So enjoy the rest of your day in Uyo.